Today we are going to talk about one of my favorite things, and that is getting a letter or a card in the mail. I love when I go to my mailbox and there's a card or a letter from a family member or a friend who I haven't seen in a really long time, and they write to tell me about what's happening in their life or that they miss me, or especially when it's my birthday, I love getting letters in the mail. Did you know that a long time ago, before any of you were born, letters were the main way that people communicated? They didn't have phones, they didn't have computers, so when they wanted to talk to their friends who lived far away, they would write each other letters. So we are going to learn this week how to write letters to our friends. And then maybe by the end of the week, you can write a letter to a friend from school that you miss seeing to tell them what's going on with you. So letters have 5 parts. I'm going to tell you what they are, and then we're going to go over what those parts are, how to write each part of the letter. So a letter has a greeting, a date, a body, a closing, and a signature. So let's talk about the first one. The first one is the greeting. That is like saying hello. That is going to be the part of your letter that tells somebody who the letter is for. So if the letter is for me, you would write, Dear Miss Caro. If the letter is for Miss Burcham, you would write, Dear Miss Burcham. The next part of your letter is the date. The date is just how we know when the letter was written. Okay, so for example, if you write a letter today, today is March 30th, so you would write that up at the top of your letter also. The body is the biggest part of the letter. That is the part of the letter that is going to be what you want to tell the person who you're writing to. So if I'm writing a letter to my best friend who lives very far away, I might want to tell her about what I've been doing these past few weeks. So I'm going to write my sentences about what I've been doing these past 2 weeks in the body of the letter. Then we have the closing. The closing is like when you say goodbye. So you might say your friend, or you could say love, and then you have the signature. The signature is just your name, so that whoever received the letter knows who was writing the letter. So my closing might say your friend, and then underneath that I would write Miss Caro. So you should have a paper that looks like this. And if you don't, that's okay. You can use a regular piece of notebook paper. This paper just has all of the different sections of the letter laid out for you so that you know where to put everything. So we are going to practice writing a letter today, and I actually have a special friend that you are going to be writing to. I have a sweet friend named Scruffy. And if that sounds like a funny name for a person, that's because Scruffy is actually not a person. Scruffy is a puppy. Now, Scruffy likes to write me letters, and he sometimes has some things that he needs advice on. He needs help figuring them out. And so I write back to Scruffy, and I help him solve his problems. And so I think that you all would be really, really good at that too. So I got a letter from Scruffy today, and I want to read it to you. And I'll show you what Scruffy looks like. There's a little picture of him at the top of my letter. Isn't he cute? All right, let me read my letter to you from Scruffy. It says, Dear Miss Caro, my friend Jane has the flu. I want to make her feel better, but I can't go see her because I could get sick too. What other things could I do to make Jane feel better? Love, Scruffy. Well, that's really nice of Scruffy to want to make his friend Jane feel better when we're feeling sick. It's not very fun, is it? But he also knows that it's really important to not go see her right now because she could get him sick too, right? And so he wants some advice on other things that he could do to make her feel better now that he has to stay far away. So we're going to write back to Scruffy. And this letter is for me, but I think that if I let Scruffy know that you all want to write to him too, that he would be really excited about that. So you're going to take your paper and you're going to, I'm going to help you do some of the parts of your paper, of your letter, and then you are going to do the body on your own. And I bet Scruffy is going to be so excited to get letters from you. So you take your paper and your pencil, and we are going to do the greeting, the date, the closing, and the signature together. And you do it on your paper while I do it on the whiteboard. So my greeting, and your greeting as well, is going to say, Dear Scruffy. So you can go ahead on your paper, write Dear Scruffy. You can look at my whiteboard to see how you spell Scruffy. Now after we write the person's name, we always put a comma. Because you're not done talking to them, you still have more to say. For the date at the top of your paper, you are going to put 3/30. I'm going to have to squeeze it in here, 20. That's because today is March 30th, 2020. The body of your paper you are going to write on your own because I want to see your ideas for what can make his friend Jan feel better. Everyone's going to have different ideas. My ideas might be different from yours, so I want you to come up with ways. Think about if you had a friend who you couldn't go see, but you wanted to cheer them up. What would you do? So think about the things that you would do and maybe write those down and tell Scruffy what he could do. Now for our closing, you can either write love or you can write your friend. I'm going to write your friend. And again, we're going to put a comma there. And on the very last line, you are going to put your name. So I would write Miss Carol. You're not going to write Miss Carol because that's not your name. You're going to write your name, so don't copy that. Okay, so you have your letter paper all set up to go. Now the only thing that you need to do on your paper is in this very center part right here, you're going to write back to Scruffy. Now, do you think that maybe Scruffy wants more than just one idea? I think so, okay? So I want you to give Scruffy at least 3 ideas of how he can cheer his friend Jan up while she's sick, okay? And then I want you to take a picture, or mom and dad to take a picture of that and send it to me because I cannot wait to read your ideas. Tomorrow, and actually the rest of the week, I'm going to have different letters from Scruffy to read to you. And we're going to help Scruffy solve his problems by writing letters to him.